Hi, welcome to Real People. I'm Stephanie Allensworth. Today I have a very, very special guest with me, the beautiful Jodi Livon, here to talk about her journey with her health. Thanks for being here, Jodi.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, I think you have a lot to share, and this is a conversation that we both have a common theme about. So, if I may, can I just share that
Yes.
for those that may not know that Jodi had breast cancer, and she's here to talk about it with us so that we can inform other people what to look out for and the pitfalls of it. So, would you like to tell us a little bit about? I mean, because I really don't know your story about this,
Yeah.
so I'm dying to hear it.
So I was on the sort of high-risk list for breast cancer because I had several family members, that had it, and all of the tests that we did to see if it was, what is it? What are the not the BRCA, the genetic
one?
testing?
Yeah.
Came out perfect, like there was nothing. But I went for an MRI. 6 months later, I would go for a mammogram. 6 months later, I'd go for an MRI. Even during stay-at-home order when they were open, I would go. I was really diligent about it. And then one summer, I was having this horrible feeling like I was going to die. And the pictures I saw were really awful. And I just kept praying and kept meditating and did everything I was supposed to do in my life and enjoyed my life as much as I could, which was a lot. And I went in for a routine MRI and I had an awful feeling about it. And when my husband, because I have to take medication when I have an MRI because I'm claustrophobic. So I brought my husband and we were in line to check in for the MRI and I said, my whole life just flashed in front of me. And I turned to him and I said, this cannot be good. And it was not good. So they did find a lump about half a pea size. Can I say words like location, or are there no words like?
You can say breast or mammary or whatever.
Okay, so it was right above 12 o'clock above my left nipple.
Okay.
And was not, you could not detect it through feeling it at all. It was the MRI. So then I did some more tests and I had to have a double mastectomy. Actually, I opted for that because I'd had so many scares and because of my family and my gut. And as it turned out, they had found more. And I had something called triple positive. So years ago, if somebody had triple positive breast cancer, which means different kinds of hormones were involved, the tumor was hormone fed, people would die. But they have discovered something called Herceptin, which is wonderful. And that in combination with chemo took it out. I mean, the lump came out, I was cancer-free, but they did things to prevent it from building up again.
Right.
And I'm still doing certain things. So the cancer part was hard. But unfortunately, what happened after my first surgery is I got a really bad infection that was mismanaged by my initial doctor, plastic surgeon. And I kept saying, I think I have an infection. And she kept saying, you don't have an infection. You're already on an antibiotic. And I kept saying, well, I feel really sick, and different antibiotics respond differently to different bacteria. And I had a really bad infection. And then I found out she did the wrong surgery on me too.
Oh, no.
So there were a lot of things. And so I kept going back. And
Was it a staph infection or
no,
what
it was, now of course, serratia something or other. You know what water looks like when it gets moldy?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was, is my understanding. So something wasn't clean, clearly. And, people can get infections. That's not an impossibility. But I got one and it wasn't taken care of right away.
Right.
So I kept going back and I kept going back. And this is during the
So it could take
don't
hold,
leave
right?
home. Like it was still, I think we could leave home, but it was during the be really careful, wear a mask, and I was really sick. So I kept going back and she did another surgery and I got worse.
Oh,
And then basically I had 4 surgeries in a month. And the third surgery, a different surgeon had to do it because when they said you needed to have surgery, which I knew I did, and I insisted on it, they wanted me to wait 5 days because they wanted the surgeon that usually worked with me to come and do that, and she was out of town. And I said, nope, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it right now. And I remember I was bawling. I'm a crier. I was bawling. And so they left the room. It was the PA left the room uncomfortably. And my sister was with me, also a breast cancer survivor, and I picked up a tissue and I was really weak. from all of this.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to throw the tissue across the room. And my sister looked at me and she goes, Jodi. And I'm thinking, you know me, I can do way worse than this. I just don't feel well. So then the PA came in and I said, you're doing surgery now or tomorrow. So they found somebody. I woke up from that surgery to find that I was within inches of going septic. Yeah, going septic. And they didn't read the report. My surgeon that was out of town didn't read the report that said I had an infection on both sides. So I had to go have surgery a day later, again.
Oh, honey,
I did.
am so sorry
Sorry.
to hear all this. How horrible.
And so the reason, so I used to vomit this out all the time, but the reason I talk about it now is because had I not stood up and said, you're doing the surgery, had I done what they suggested, I'd be dead.
You'd have sepsis.
And they said I had nothing to fight it. I had had this infection for so long that I had nothing to fight it. So this really nice infectious disease doctor was standing sort of looking at my chart when I basically kind of came out of everything after that third surgery. And I'm like, oh, he looks like a really nice guy, but he's angry. And that's when he was looking at that they should have taken it out of both sides. He immediately got a line in my arm, put the right antibiotic in me, and I started feeling better right away.
Oh.
And I was strong enough to have that fourth surgery. And I'm very proud of my body.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got an incredible body. I had dead skin on my chest for a month as well, like literally all the way through dead. It was not good. It wasn't good at all. But I persevered.
Yes.
And I think that just says we can persevere through things that we would never think possible. My friend Lori is a lung cancer survivor, and she told me before I went in, she said, the human body is amazing. Just wait to see what the human body can do. And I did.
Yes.
And I'm amazed at universe, God, and how amazing the human body is. And I'm amazed at how many people know how to stand up for themselves. And I'm sad at how many of us don't.
Well, it amazes me as well. I mean, I am a total advocate. I mean, anytime you need me, I'm there, okay? Because
That's great.
When my mom was sick, I was the one like, no, 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 you're not, no, that's not it, it's not that. And I was right through the whole thing, and they're just trying to do this stuff, you know, to get another cha-ching on, I hate to say that, but, you know, adding up things for her because she was old, you know?
So I think that can be really true. And I want to be really clear when I say I think there are far more good health practitioners than there are others. And my plastic surgeon that made those mistakes was very kind.
Yeah.
She was not an unkind person. She made a lot of mistakes, like one after the other.
Yeah.
And I think that can happen. And so that's why that advocating for yourself, and we have people in our family that are doctors and that are in the medical profession, and I think they're amazing people, and I feel like they're overworked too.
Oh, there's that, yeah.
But nevertheless, in any industry, you have to advocate for yourself. But in health, it's so good to bring somebody with you
Yeah.
and to know what you're talking about and to not ignore your intuition
Yeah, exactly.
when it's pushing you to say something or do something, even if you think you're going to sound like an idiot. Because trust me, I'm sure I couldn't stop crying. And so that maybe people don't take you seriously when you're crying, but you know, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was sobbing.
Yeah.
Until I was listening.
Yeah.
And then I was taking notes, and then I would sob again.
Oh, jeez. Oh, but you have also this gift that, with your intuition, that gave you warning signs.
I had warning signs at the beginning.
Yeah. And you said you saw pictures. Were these pictures in your mind that were telling you this is something you have to pay attention to?
So I see pictures. My intuition works that way. It's like a screen in my head where I'll see pictures, and I saw pictures of my death.
Oh.
I mean, over and over again. And I was in peaceful places when this would happen, and I would meditate and pray and try to make it go away. And I prayed to figure out what it was about. And I finally said, they're clearly warning me. I don't know what it's about. My guides are warning me. I'm just going to be open to seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
So when I was diagnosed, I said to my husband, the diagnosis is going to come back decent. It was 1A, which is good, meaning the tumor was really small and it was at the very beginning stages. And I'm so blessed that it was found. I'm so grateful to the medical community because I had great doctors, great oncologists. I had great doctors other than this one experience. Incredible, actually. See, now, this is what happens to me. Is I'm opening up, then there's swoops in a dead person.
Oh.
And I love when it happens when I'm on TV or being filmed.
Okay, back off, whoever you are.
Wow. Short guy with very curly hair. And I don't think he belongs to me. I think he belongs to the person over there. Yeah. Okay, what was I saying? Please tell me.
That your medical community was very, very good, and the diagnosis was spot on.
Right.
It was small.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but I remember saying to my husband, it's going to come back really a great diagnosis, but something is going to go wrong, and I'm going to die. We have many outs in our lives as a soul. When we're in this, in our body, there are different outs, meaning different deaths that we are available to us, if you will. And I believe that was one of mine, and I didn't take it.
Huh.
I fought really hard to stay alive.
Yes.
So, and I think there's so many people that can relate to this. And so, you know, when people are going through something awful, I hope they know they're never alone. We're never alone.
Yeah.
There's all of us who've been through this and other things that people have gone through. There's so much love in the universe, on the planet. People are good. We're never alone.
Yes.
Ever. And plus there's our guides, there's God, there's there's so much.
Yeah.
In angels.
Yes. I definitely love my angels. I have my whole yard and inside my house, I have angels everywhere. It started small, and now it's a big collection. But, you know, I think I reached out to you when I first found out that you were diagnosed, and told you that I had been diagnosed as well. But I had the polar opposite experience. It was small. The first one, I had two. The first one was small, and I found it. Like, I hadn't had a mammogram in 20 years, and I found it. And I'm like, well, you know, I just should go get this checked.
Smart.
So, you know, my intuition was kicking me. Matter of fact, I have to tell you, I had a dream. So in a dream, this gal I worked with at the time came to me in my dream and said, your mom and sister want to talk to you. And they both had passed. And out of that dream, I said, why would they send this gal to me? Why would this gal come to me? She had breast cancer twice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, go in, get the mammogram.
Smart, you're very smart. You really read that right. How, oh my gosh, what a blessing that
I know, and I went and told her too. I said, Lori, you came to me in a dream and helped me, you know, kick me in the pants to get, you know, to get in. And I got in and out, and my surgeon was wonderful, and I didn't have to do chemo or radiation. Nobody pushed me. Nobody, you know, they were like, nope. But see, mine was not an aggressive form.
You just
and
hadn't left the duct, correct?
Right, and it was
in situ, do they call that? I can't remember the names. Too much chemo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember any of the jargon at all. And it's, you know, the HRC 124. I don't know, but it was all good. But 2 years later, I found another lump in the same spot, and I'm like, well, this one is pretty obvious. It feels like it's going to come out the hard way if we don't do something with it. And you know, I went in for a mammogram, and it didn't show up. I'm like, how could this thing not show up? You know, if like just you can see it popping out of my skin.
But that happens, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you could see it like the mound outside my skin because it was very close. It was attached to my skin. This second one, and
interesting.
Yeah, so
meant to be found.
Yeah, definitely was meant to be found.
And you did something about it.
Right away.
You're so smart and brave.
And I had to
You're
promise to go in for mammograms more often.
Yeah, you're brave.
My surgeon said.
Don't you feel like people are scared so they don't do it? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but they're so scared they'll find something and they don't, and even if they had a dream, they might not pay attention to it because they're so scared. But going and finding out isn't as scary, actually, as living just thinking, what if?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny because when I was in there and had the, what do you call it, with the gel and stuff, I forget. But
ultrasound?
Ultrasound, yeah. And, the doctor came in, the radiologist, and said, yeah, that looks suspicious. And I'm pretty sure they had a nurse in there waiting to see if I was going to faint or cry or fall apart or whatever. And I just looked at her and I said, looks like a little monkey in there.
Did you really?
And they're like, yeah, it does kind of look like a little monkey.
They must have thought,
And I was
oh my
like-
gosh, what an amazing woman.
And I said, let's get the monkey off my back, okay? Let's just do it. So then
You're
I went
very
through
brave.
that whole thing. I feel like for me, it was easier to be calm than to freak out. And I think that's just kind of like how I like to live my life because,
It's how you're wired. Because
Yeah.
I would like very much to always be really cool and calm and collected.
Well, I'm
but
not
that
sure I
is
was that
not
cool.
me.
But I don't think I was that cool.
Yeah, but you were proactive and you faced it and you took care of it immediately. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say the first time it was immediately. I waited until I had that dream. And that dream was the kick in the pants. And I'm like, okay.
But you paid attention to it.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely pay attention to my dreams because I always know that they're trying to tell me something. So,
And the weird thing about breast cancer is they know so much. Like my second plastic surgeon was amazing. There's so many good practitioners here in Minnesota and other places. They know so much. They've learned so much. Their chances of survival are statistically over the moon good in compared to what they were 30
Oh.
years ago. It's great. And I
Yeah.
think that's true of a lot of cancers. They know
Yeah.
a lot more. And so they approach it in a different way. Used to be you'd think that was it. You'd be diagnosed with cancer. Remember when we were
yeah,
kids?
any cancer, yeah.
Right? And it isn't like that anymore. But there are other things that people are afraid of that they don't want to face because they're so afraid of the outcome.
Yeah.
And I've been frozen in fear. And what I find over and over again is if I can move through that and take care of it and go do something, knowledge is power.
It is, most definitely. And, you might see yourself as being an emotional wreck through the whole thing, but look at you today. You're absolutely stunning and beautiful,
thank
and your
you.
soul is just aglow.
Nah, thank you.
So I kind of get the impression that there was a reason you had to go through this. I don't know, do you ever feel that way about these
what's
things?
interesting, Stephanie, is I used to really think that everything happened exactly for a certain reason, and I don't anymore. I feel like some things are planned before we ever come here, and we don't know it, and they're going to happen. And it's really not because we're supposed to do something with it for the world or not. It's what you do with what you get that has the most power. So the reason for that is, what are you going to do? Because I don't feel like I owe cancer any thanks. It isn't nothing. I didn't glean anything good because I had cancer. It's what I did with it that I
Yeah.
got the goodies out.
Yeah.
So I always want to get the goodies out, but when you're going through it, I had people say to me, well, maybe you're supposed to be an example for other people. And I said, I don't think I'm being sacrificed for other people. I don't think it
Yeah.
works that way. But I do think that what I do with it, for me, can or cannot be an example for other people. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we'll just see. So it's empowering for me to feel like everything, of course, happens for a reason, and then none at all.
Huh.
And then none at all, because you're here to live your life.
Right.
And you're here to get the most out of it and to grow as a soul. So for that, yes. But I think some people think that if they go through a tragedy, it's because they're being punished, and that's why that's their reason, or something like that. And I'm sure you don't feel that way either.
No. I'm thinking more in the terms of what you can share with others, which is why I wanted to do this conversation, to be able to share
Oh,
this
and here I said
information.
no. So I hope that people glean something positive out of what happened for me about advocating for themselves and making sure that they do the self-check and however they can do that, take care of themselves with anything. And I also don't want anybody to do this spiritual bypassing, which would be like to pretend it's okay, it's all going to be okay. This is my version of this. It happened for a reason, and it's to bless the world. No, you're here to work through what happened to you, feel the pain of it, work it through, grow as a soul as you do. And if anybody else gets goodies out of it, yay. But
Yeah.
you're here to focus on what happens for your own spirit.
Oh.
That's I mean, that's how I look at it, and I think that was because so many people said things to me like, "You're being sacrificed, Jodi."
Oh, no, I didn't think
No,
that
I
at
know
all.
you don't. No, and I don't think anybody's being sacrificed. And I would agree. Like, I'm in the public eye, and what happens to me matters to other people too, which is wonderful. And if they're getting something from this, I love that. That means the world to me. This is why I'm talking about this. This would be not a subject I would normally talk about in public because, I mean, I am silly with my girlfriends, but talking about boobs, not so much. But it's about, it's about. But, I have so
I
many
almost
jokes
had a
about
snort
it. that- I have so many jokes about it that are not really appropriate, but I say them anyway when I'm with my friends.
Yeah.
I feel like the spiritual bypassing again, and we did something on this at Twin Cities Live about this, about making sure you own your feelings about it and you work it through and you don't go, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, which I know you don't do. That's not your personality.
I didn't even tell my friends.
But I think a lot of people do that, don't you? To try to help themselves through it, and in the end, it doesn't help. You have to be with where you are.
Yeah. I like to say that for me, this is for me personally, I don't want to say that I have cancer because I don't.
No, you don't.
It's gone. It's gone. I had a lump or two, and now and now those are gone, and I am cancer free. And
you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I got a little sun. That helps. But yeah, I like to not make a big deal out of things. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to tell my husband.
Really?
Yeah. But one of my girlfriends, one of my besties, had breast cancer, and she had the aggressive kind, and she had a little more of a hard time like you did. And I called her for advice. And she and I talked a lot about it, but when I got my report, I read everything. I looked every term up. I looked to see what it meant, and compiled my own information list of what this means for me. And when I talked to them intelligently about it, then I got what I needed to hear, so I knew how to move on. If that makes any sense.
It's almost like you stepped outside of yourself to be the one in control and to advocate for yourself, and then you stepped back in to have all the things that you needed to. It's like the different parts of you took care of you.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
a really cool thing.
A little bit of a separation there, huh?
Well, no, because you took care of it.
Yeah.
And you're whole. You are whole. But when you went through it, that's how it looks like you took care of it. When you're talking, I can see that. That's a very beautiful way of doing that.
I wasn't even aware I was doing it like that, but it makes sense now that you say that. So yeah, it totally makes sense. Probably because the advocate in me that is for all humanity really had to step up and say, hey, I need to know some facts and I need to know some things, and we're not going to do anything to Stephanie that she doesn't need.
That's really smart. That's really smart. And it's good because that helps empower other people, even if you never said anything and now you're saying something, so it's even more empowering.
Yeah, it's only been a couple of years.
What year?
2 years ago, December.
I'm 2021, August.
Oh. I think I was diagnosed when, was that a year later? Yeah, I think I was 2020. No. It's 2 years.
But isn't it cool that it's because it's behind us, it's not like it's in the forefront of our minds.
Oh, I just had the second one in January.
It's not that far behind you.
No. But at that point, it was old hat.
I think it's perfect because people watching this can see how different two strong women deal with something and come out on the other side of it shining.
Yeah. By the way, for my friends that might see this, I'm sorry I didn't tell you that I had the second one.
For my friends that are seeing this, I'm sorry you have to hear this again.
That is funny.
True.
Well, let's talk a little bit about now what you're doing, because you said you kind of shifted after this while you were going through chemo. You were talking a little bit before we started about your group sessions that you're doing. Do you want to talk a little about that?
So I always have done small group readings and individual readings, and I was a corporate psychic, and I still am going to be doing some of that again on a much smaller scale. I'm doing it on a much, much smaller scale, but I'm not really doing individual readings the way that I was, which is a heartbreak because I love my clients. I've done this for so many years. I truly love my clients, and I miss seeing them one-on-one. But I kept getting this message way before I was diagnosed with breast cancer that I was supposed to be doing this for larger groups instead of one-on-one. And I didn't listen because I love doing individual readings so much, and I feel like when I read, I do that better than almost anything I've ever done. It just was a joy. But doing them in group form is equally as beautiful. So what I decided to do after chemo is close up shop in a certain way and open it up in another way to do events virtually and events in person where I talk about a subject matter, like I'm doing one about affirmations, I'm doing one about spirits. I'm doing a ton of them this spring and summer and into the fall. And people come, they hear the subject matter, and I do gallery style readings. So,
awesome.
you know, like when the spirit moves you, when a spirit moves me to talk to somebody, then I'll give a reading to them and I'll talk to them about because I'm a medium and I interface with those on the other side, and I do it through love. That's how I do my readings, and the psychic part too. So people come for a gallery style reading. If it's 100 people, not 100 people aren't going to get a reading.
Yeah,
but
right.
there will be some people that do, and the reason I feel like the universe points me in one direction is because 18 other people or 50 other people have those same questions or something similar. So these events are so uplifting and so incredible. You ever do something and you feel like you're not even walking on the ground anymore? You're so high emotionally and spiritually. You're
floating.
Really fun to do that. I'm going to be offering events virtually, and I'm going to be offering something where people can learn how to be more intuitive virtually as well.
I love that. Yeah.
A whole package of things. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you've got some goodies coming out.
I do, and I have another book that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, and I know you don't want to give up the name yet, but we'll wait to see when that happens, and I'll do a blast on it on my Facebook page, and put it on your video when it's on YouTube. We'll put the notice up there too.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
I love that you do this and I feel like we're very similar in. There's a connection between us because both of us know that we're all connected one to the other. And to reach out and to just feel that connection and help other people is so beautiful. And thank you for doing all that you do.
Well, thank you. And I'm getting those truth bumps again. I got goosies all over me. So thank you, and thank you for being here. I think we're running out of time. Yeah, it goes so fast when we're really engaged in this conversation. And God bless you, sweetie, for coming and talking and helping me kind of open up a little bit too, because I probably needed to do that a little bit more now that I'm back inside myself.
It's like therapy.
Yeah. That's why I do these shows, for therapy.
It's great.
That's my own therapy.
I'm coming back.
Okay, yay. And maybe, let's get your website or your email where people can reach you, your website.
My website's theintuitivecoach.com.
Okay.
And I'm on YouTube and social media, all social media.
And we'll be able to find your readings and galleries and such there.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you so much, sweetie. Right now, we're going to check it out. Thanks for keeping it real. And Jodi, thank you for being so real and beautiful. I love you.
Love you too.
All right, we're off.
That was real.